Through the years there have been quite a few electrical or electronic soccer or football games, and I've featured some of those on the channel. There was the Tomy Super Cup Football, the Grandstand Pocket Match of the Day, the Gakken Soccer LCD card game, and who could forget the VTech Talking Soccer. Fortunately, Casio's LCD football game doesn't talk, but it does do sums. So join me today as I try to fix this Casio SG12 football game calculator that I bought spares or repair on eBay. So here then is our Casio SG12 soccer calculator, and initial impressions aren't good. Some damage on the corner there. It looks like the front panel is coming away altogether. There's some buttons that are pressed down. I don't know if that's normal, but certainly the contrast button doesn't show any signs of movement at all. And all clear also seems to be quite heavily pushed down. I don't know if you can kind of see that on the camera or not, but yeah, those are kind of squashed in. Anyway, we'll pop some batteries in it and see if it springs to life. Looks like the batteries sit behind this piece here. So we'll just check the condition of those batteries very quickly, make sure they're what we would expect them to be. And indeed, it's looking like they are. The first one's 1.5 volts, 1.5 volts, and 1.5 volts. So those look to be good. Let's pop them into our calculator. I'm also going to take the opportunity to look to make sure they're making fairly good contact, and it looks like they are. Nothing's kind of pushed out of the way and stuck there, so I think we're getting electrical contact there. We'll slide those back in, put this back together and take a look from the front again. Looks like these screws are captive, which is nice. I would otherwise probably have lost them, and they may already have gone from the game or the calculator had it not been for that. Doesn't seem to want to tighten down. That one's okay. This one is just turning, so it looks like maybe we've lost some threading on there. Should use the flan blanche technique where you kind of back out of the plastic first and then back in. I'm assuming it is plastic in there. Maybe we'll be able to do something with that later. But now we can see, oh, there is a little sign of life. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's really coming apart here. You can see that on the camera or not, but there is a little sign of life. There's a 0 appeared there. See if we can do any maths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. 8 digit display, see if AC actually works. It does. About contrast, I wonder if the contrast works. No, it doesn't seem to be making any difference at all. And it does kind of come and go, so looks like in some so in some orientations it's just shut off altogether now, and then if you kind of give it a twist or a squeeze, no, actually there's nothing at all there. It seems to have, oh no, it's back. It's back. Yeah. Twist or a squeeze will turn it off. You can bring it back to life perhaps with AC there. Yeah. Not sure about this at all. And those contrast buttons do nothing. See if we can play the game. I don't know how you actually go about that. I suppose there's a button here called game, so let's press that and see what happens. Nothing happens. Okay, well, we're going to have to dig a little deeper into this, I think. I don't really like soccer games. I don't know how I've ended up with so many of them. I don't play it at all well, and I think that's reflected in my playing these electronic games as well. I think the first thing I'm going to try and do is kind of resurrect that keypad. So if we can get that working. See if it's by design that those buttons are pressed in, or whether that is as a result of damage or something else. Ah, well, I suppose I should have really have taken a photograph of it before I delved too much further in. Perhaps I should do that right now. Oh dear. Well, I do have some video footage, but nonetheless, I'm going to take a quick photo of it with my mobile phone. That might be easier for me to reference, but I do have the video footage. Well, that's that. Hopefully, it will help me remember when it comes to time to reassemble this. We'll scooch those away. I'm just going to look briefly at the AC key here and see if it is any kind of deeper than the other keys, and in fact it doesn't appear like it is significantly so. Maybe a little though, so let's measure it. Maybe it wasn't pressed down, maybe it's just thinner. So I have my digital caliper here, we'll just zero that, and I think it was these two, off, contrast and AC, which I thought were thinner than the others, so we'll compare those to a normal key. We'll start off with this one.
So looking back over the video, there is quite a lot of variability as I attempted to measure the thickness of the buttons. But I do wonder how much of that was just my poor measuring technique, rather than design or manufacturing variability in the thickness of the keys. So if you do have one of these calculators, perhaps in better condition than mine, maybe you could leave a comment in the comments section letting me know whether the buttons should be recessed in the keypad, or whether my example's just worn out.
So looking at this rubber keypad though, I don't know if you can see that, some of the keypad domes are shallower than the other, and again it looks like it's by design, not by kind of compression over time. This one here, which is on, and the contrast key here is flat, whereas the rest are very definitely domed. So either this has been squashed flat, no, I'm really sure, I'm pretty convinced that isn't the case. That in fact these were molded this way with these keys a little flatter. Right, what's next? We have our display and display bezel. Is that on a zebra strip, or it looks like it's on a flex PCA? Whole assembly, I was going to say, comes out, but it doesn't quite, because there is a sounder in the back cover here. And then this kind of strange arrangement for the batteries. So that's the back of the battery compartment. What I can't work out is how the power supply gets to the actual printed circuit board here. Oh, it looks like there's a contact. Oh yeah, they have contacts here and here. Ah, all right. So, I'm going to look a little bit closer at this. I think I have an idea now what might be going on with it. So I was trying to figure out how the power got from the batteries here to the printed circuit assembly here, and I've worked it out, and I think that might be some of the reason why, when you kind of twist the calculator like this, you lose the connectivity and the calculator shuts off. And that's because I think there's a couple of kind of metal tangs here that stick out from the battery contacts. So they're all arranged here, and then there's these two little tangs. I don't know if you can see these or not. Let's see if you can see them on this camera. Just right here. One there and one there. And then they press down onto the printed circuit assembly kind of here and here. And they look a little bit compressed. Also, with this piece not kind of screwing fully in place, I think the calculator might not be quite as squeezed together as it should be. So I'm going to do three things. I'm going to bend out these metal contacts a little bit in order that they make good contact with these pads on here. I'm going to clean off these pads on the printed circuit assembly with a little IPA, and then I'm going to find a way to secure this more tightly together. So I'm hoping I can just get in here with a a little screwdriver there, bend these up a little bit. That's one. And there's the other. It's got a little IPA here on a cotton bud. We'll make sure that pad's cleaned off. Looks like they are carbon pads, so I want to make sure I don't rub it all away, but certainly there's something on there that's coming off. Don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. We'll see. But I'm going to turn the calculator over now and look at the actual keyboard mechanism. This is a kind of flex PCA, flex PCB that's put over the top of some carbon contacts there. And it looks like this is kind of two layers. There's one layer, you won't see it on the camera, one layer which is the clear layer, and then there's an insulating layer. And I suppose when you push down on the key, you, on which way around this goes now, which is not great. When you push down on the key, you kind of push the top layer down onto the bottom, and so it makes contact. So I'm going to clean this off again with a little IPA on a cotton bud. I'm going to do the same with this, and I'm going to pop it back in what I hope is the correct place. So I think this is about dry now. I'm going to turn my attention therefore to this kind of rubber membrane thing. I'm just going to give it a clean with some window cleaner and clean up the display as well while we're at it, I think. I don't think this is going to have any functional effect. It's just a case of cleaning it up. Now this was positioned, I think, this way round with the AC. Let's see if it lines up with the holes. It does. Okay, so it's that way around. Similarly, I'm guessing the holes on this need to line up. Try to position it so the holes are in the center of the kind of cutouts in this film, and I'm hoping that's going to be enough. I don't know. We'll see. I wonder if it will need some tape to kind of help it stay in place. It's looking like it might. When I got this originally, this was a little kind of tacky. It no longer is. I'm slightly worried we'll need to hold it in place, so I'm probably just going to put a little bit of tape or something across that just to hold it. I do have some thinner tape, but, well, somewhere I have some thinner tape, but I've lost it, probably because it was the most useful. Not great. I'm not super thrilled with that. Could be worse, I suppose. I will be happier when this is all kind of fastened back together now. All right. Feels a little bit more sturdy now. Let's take a look at this top piece. And I notice here that there is a threaded insert in this one where the screw would engage. There doesn't seem to be one in the other side. I'm not sure quite where that would have gone. Perhaps somebody lost it one time when they opened it or when this damage occurred here. I'm not sure. But, oh, it looked, oh, hang on. They're both in there. They're just held in. It's just both fallen out by the looks of it. So, yeah, there they are. You can see those. Just little metal inserts, which, well, they're nuts, really, and they go in here. And there's a little spring in there as well. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that little spring is. Yeah, but now that that is not wedged in there, this sits somewhat more flush than it did before, but still not great. I think it's held on with tape. Tape seems to be holding at the bottom, not at the top. I'm not quite sure how I could really fix that, but I do need to get these little washers back in place, or these little nuts back in place, I should say. So let's get that done. We got one in. Boy, that wasn't a lot of fun. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily tape that up because I really don't want to have to do that again. That was quite painful to do. So hopefully I'll be able to lift this one up without losing the engagement of the other. In fact, you can see the little spring in there now as well. Right there. Got it. Oh, I thought I had it. Yes! Right. So, I wonder if I can put a little double-sided tape or something in there just to hold that in place. Okay. Press that down. You know what? Might just work. So perhaps not a great result, but not terrible. You could still prise these apart if you needed to, but there again, you always could. It's not showing from the front. Yeah, I think that's going to work just fine, and our captive nuts are back in place. So we should now be able to go ahead and get this reassembled. So now I need to reassemble the keypad, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little blue tack in each corner. That's going to make sure that the calculator is kind of raised from the bench so the buttons don't want to kind of come out as I'm trying to put them in situ. Well, I'm hoping that's it. All right, very good. So this is kind of how the user would have been exposed to it when they were installing or removing the batteries. So now it's the same as the user experience would have been. So we'll pop some batteries in and we'll try it again. And nothing works. So I think I've found the problem. When I wrapped the tape around the corner here, I just obscured that pad a little bit. So I just need to cut this tape away, I think. And hopefully then the batteries will make contact and everything should work. Well, cause and effect, there's kind of reason why that wouldn't work. I wonder if it will now. Yes, well, it's lit up. It's lit up. So let's put it back together. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Fantastic. Let's put these screws back in place. We'll turn it over and see what's going on at the front. So close now. And there it is. We have our soccer game. Let's dim the lights, zoom in a little bit and see what's going on here.
Well, it looks like the calculator works. And it looks like the game works too. But as predicted, I'm rubbish at it. I suppose back in the day, if I'd have had this, I'd have been the envy of all my friends, at least for a few minutes. But today, it's probably not one for me. And that does just about wrap it up for our Casio calculator and soccer game for today. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and that if you have, you'll press like, leave a comment and consider hitting subscribe. But until next time, I'd just like to thank you so much for watching RetroTech Repair.
Now the plate. Oops. And off we come with the lid.